Hi everyone, my name is John Fly. As you know, my YouTube channel is mostly about flying planes on my computer, flight simulation, but today we're going to be doing something completely different and we're going to be brewing beer. I am brand new to this. I've never done it before. I'm excited, but I'm also nervous. I've been doing a lot of research on YouTube and websites and talking to the local stores. There's a lot of variation about how beer brewing is done, and I understand that there's experimentation involved, but when one guy says start with 2.5 gallons of water and another guy says start with 3, that's just one example of small variations that I'm seeing amongst people who do their home beer brewing. Back up just a little bit. I was going to start with a 1 gallon kit, a real basic 1 gallon kit. But then the guy at the local store here said, you know, why, if you're going to put forth all of the effort, the same amount of effort would go into a 1 gallon versus a 5 gallon, but you're going to end up with a better, more after the fact. So if it turns out to be a good batch of beer, it's good that, we can bottle 48, 52 bottles of beer as opposed to 6, 8, 9, 10 bottles with a 1 gallon. But I am intimidated just because of the size. I had to get a pretty good sized kettle and all of that. So we'll see how it goes. But I understand that beer brewing is about experimentation, it's about variation. And I think we're going to learn along the way of what we could do better, what we did well, etc. And yeah, so today I'm going to unbox my Brewer's Best beer brewing equipment kit, and we'll just do this live for you guys, and then if all goes well, we'll videotape some of the process in the kitchen all the way to tasting. We'll see. Let's get this started on the unboxing. There it is, Brewer's Best right there. This is a 5 gallon kit. Let's see what's inside. Usually I would unbox on a table, but I don't have a lot of space down here in front of this nice camera and microphone. But first thing we'll take out of the box, it looks like this is the auto siphon. I'm going to have to do some test runs because I've never done this before, so I might get just some water, do test runs before I actually try to siphon the beer out of the one container to the next. I might have to do some testing. So there we go, the auto siphon. Looks like we have 2 buckets. We can get the box out of the way now. Got the L Pel. These are 6.5 gallon buckets. Got the lid here with the grommet. That's where we're going to put in our airlock when all is said and done for the fermentation process. Inside here we get the brewing guide. Again, I think this is going to vary from what I've heard from people local and on YouTube. There'll be slight variations of procedures, but good kit there. We have a brush for cleaning your bottles, for example. We got our siphon hose. This looks like it's a temperature strip. Maybe that's a hydrometer in there as well as an airlock. This This is something we won't be using for a while, but this is the bottle capper. I was watching a video on YouTube, and I may want to invest in something that takes a little less force to cap. So if any of you guys have suggestions on a good bottle capper, I'm sure this will work for our first 3 or 4 batches, but down the road, if this hobby takes, then I'll probably be investing in something that work a little bit better than. But I'm sure this will be fine for the first little while. By the way, this is the local beer store in Utah that I picked up this equipment from. We have 2, as far as I know. Actually, I think there's 3 beer stores here in northern Utah. I'm going to really friendly guys at all of them, and I'm probably going to be a patron of all 3 of them. But first batch will be with the help of these guys down Salt Lake City. This is easy clean. So this is how, I guess, one of the most important parts of beer brewing is sanitation. And what I gathered from all of my learning is that when you use this easy clean, it's a no rinse cleaner, meaning you mix a certain amount, 1 tablespoon per 1 gallon of warm water, rinse and clean all of your supplies, and you don't rinse. And a little bit of foam apparently does not hurt the brew, which I found kind of interesting because I thought a foam from a sanitizer would affect the taste, but apparently it does not. We have a spigot that will go on side. I believe this goes on the bottling bucket. Then we have our beer ingredient kit advertisements. And yeah. And this is a Czech proverb included here that said, oh, this is from the Beer Nut. It's blessed is the woman who gives birth to a brewer. Czech proverb. Cool. All right, well, that's, again, we got 2 buckets here. So 1. What's really nice is they do have the measurements. And again, I think I'm going to start on my kettle, my boiling. I think I am going to start with 3 gallons. And then I'm going to add the additional 2 later in the process. When I do that, I'm not sure. But yeah, temperature guide, carbon dioxide, ABV, batch names. That's nice. And this bucket does have the hole on it for the spigot. The other bit of kit that I have is the recipe kit, the ingredient kit. I'm going to be doing a brown ale. And I'm not even sure what's all in here, but let's open it up. I was going to buy a second recipe kit, but then I understand that they try to keep the recipe kits fresh. Like every month they'll put out new ones, because apparently your grains can not be as good over time. I don't know how long that is. If any of you watching this video know how long grains are, quote, good for. Nicely packaged here. We've got these are our grains from the Beer Nut. This is specialty grains and grain bag. So we're going to empty the grains into the mesh bag. And my understanding is that I'm going to bring up the water, the 3 gallons, I think is the way I'm going, in the kettle. I'm going to bring that up to a certain temperature. And the grains being in the mesh bag, I'm then going to what they call steep, I guess. Steep the grains like a tea bag. Drop it in, let the colors and flavors seep into the water. I'm excited. I don't know what particular grains these are. Maybe it says here in the box, but got that. At some point in the stage, I put in this Breyer's Light Malt extract into the boil. Of course, we're gonna need our bottle caps. Priming sugar. Now, I did end up buying capsules. I don't know if you're calling them capsules, but individual capsules that you put into the beer when you're bottling for that carbonation effect. Apparently, you would boil this a certain way, and then you'd pour this into your prior to bottling into your brew. But it seems like so easy to just take that tablet or that small capsule and pop it into each bottle. But they're worried about, I guess the downside is that you could be introducing some foreign whatever, something that's bad for the brew that's on the surface of that capsule, whereas this you're boiling and putting in. So I got to research the difference between using priming sugar and these drops, single capsule drops into to the bottles. Got another mesh bag. We got our home brewing guide. So again, variation amongst different people on how to do this. Recipe worksheet. This is exciting. I'm wondering if it says here how many gallons to start with. Because again, I'm hearing 2.5 and I'm hearing 3. So here it is saying in a 20-quart pot, this will be about 3.5 gallons. This is for steep. Okay. Yeah, well, we're going to follow this. So the first, in a nutshell is what they use the phrase here. We're going to sanitize the equipment. Make sure everything that will touch your beer after boiling is clean and sanitary. We're going to steep. We're going to immerse the specialty grains in hot water to extract the color, flavors, and sugars. Remove it when done. Now, I did see a guy in Canada who actually did squeeze the bag after he steeped the grains in the boil or in the hot water. But a lot of people are saying don't squeeze the bag. I guess it's maybe releasing tannins that you don't want, or what is the argument for or against squeezing the bag of grains? We're going to boil, hold the liquid at a low rolling boil for 1 hour, adding hops at the prescribed times. Now let me show you the hops that I'm going to add. Let me go grab those. The guy at the store marked these for me, but I've got Willamette, BSG, Brown, and then I've got Target. So he wrote on there boil 60. So this is going to be the first hop addition right at the beginning of the boil. And then I guess after 45, when there's 15 minutes left, I'm going to add the second addition of hops. So interesting. I do have the yeast that I'll put in the bottles to ferment on bottling, or sorry, on when I put it into the fermentation vessel. But I'm putting that yeast, I'm leaving that yeast in the refrigerator just to keep it kind of cold. I did pick up some Star San here. So this is, again, sanitizer. We have the powder Easy Clean, and then we have the Star San. And I need to learn the measurements on this. I believe it's, I may be wrong, but I think it's half ounce. I think it's like 1 ounce per 5 gallons, but I'll have to read up on that. But here's our no rinse food grade acid sanitizer. That's very, very important. One thing that I did also pick up is this rather large spoon, stainless steel. Excited about that. Did pick up a 5.5 gallon kettle. I wanted a 6, couldn't find one. And apparently they say stay away from the aluminum stock pots and go with a stainless steel. And ideally you try to get a 6 gallon stock pot. But they're not that common around town right now for some reason. And the Brewer's Best version was sold out at the store. So I guess a lot of people are home in 2020 brewing beer, so supplies are in demand. All right, well, that's the walkthrough of the unboxing. I'm going to now go pour 3 gallons of purified water. I did buy some bottled water. I don't want to use the tap water here where I am. In fact, I would recommend no one uses tap water or municipal water. Why not spend a few extra dollars and get filtered water? I guess some people use distilled. Comment below if you have experience with your tap water versus your filtered water. Now, some tap water out there is pretty good, but mine's not. So we're going to use 3 gallons of bottled water in our kettle, and we're going to start this process. I'm excited. I'll try to video some of that. Stay tuned. All right, we're now in the kitchen, and I've laid everything out here on the counter, and we're getting ready to go. Already I'm reading the instructions, and I'm already seeing variation there as well based on what I've learned. But anyway, what I thought, you steep the grains in the 150, 160 degree temperature water. You steep the grains, you dip that bag of grains in the water for 20 minutes is what I'd heard. Someone at one point said 10, but I think the consensus was 20 amongst all of my research. But now I'm reading the instructions for this recipe, and it said specialty grains, boil, steep for 30 to 45 minutes. I mean, really? What? Why is there such variation in instruction? So again, 30 to 45 minutes on my steep? I don't know. Might have to call a friend and inquire about if that's right or not. But anyway, I'm excited. I'm about to pour 5 gallons into the bucket here. And let me show you that equipment laid out and the kettle that I picked up. Okay, so down here on the counter, we of course have our 3 gallons of purified drinking water because I'm not going to use tap. We have our specialty grains from the beer nut. I don't know which grains they are, but we got a digital thermometer, got a piece of paper for some note taking. We got our home brewing guide, and then of course I showed you before we got our hops. And over here we got a 5.5 gallon kettle. Now ideally I wanted a metal top, but I couldn't find one locally, so I went with the 5.5 gallon with the glass top, but I'm not sure if that will bite me later on, but we'll find out. And here's the gas stove that I'm going to be using. And over here I got my iPad, and we're going to use that for timers, etc. So yeah, we'll get started here with a pour. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put in the 3 gallons of water. I'm hoping that 3 gallons is enough, but not too much, because I don't want to boil over. not a lot of wiggle room here. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. We all have a lot of water that boils off, so I think 3 gallons might be a good way to go. But I'll make a note on my piece of paper here that we did 3 gallons. Very important to take good notes, right? As far as I can tell. All right, we're gonna start the boil now. Or not the boil, but the getting up to a temperature for the grains. The nice thing about gas is I do have, temperature control, so that will be handy for if it gets out of hand with regard to a possible boil over. But right now, again, we're just following the instructions here that are telling us to get the water to about 155 degrees. I'm gonna use this digital thermometer to measure that, and once we get to 155 on the digital monitor, then we'll put the grains in. I'm now gonna cut the grains open and put them in the bag. And in order to eliminate mess, I'm going to put this mesh bag over the grains. And we'll do this over the sink. All right, our grain bag is ready to go. So I have a question about steeping grains, so I'm just gonna reach out, phone a friend, see what happens here. So I'm gonna call my friend St. Wolfric, see if he answers, see if our audio's working here. Howdy, sir, can you hear me? Can you hear? Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah. What's up?
I'm on my laptop.
So am I.
Yeah, you probably saw the message that I posted talking about the time for steeping grains, because everything I've read and seen online, even people do it for 20 minutes, but this recipe is saying 30 to 45 minutes. What do you think?
What is it? You're just steeping them, right? Is
Yeah.
the temp
Yeah, they said to set the temp to 150. Let me grab it.
150-ish?
Yeah,
I wouldn't,
yeah.
honestly,
155. Yeah.
You know what kind of grains they are?
It just
shouldn't
says
matter that.
it just says specialty grains, and this is for a brown ale.
For a brown ale, yeah, I would just go 20. Will be plenty. All is gonna, it's not gonna hurt to go a little more. Go 25. It's saying how long? 30
to 45.
Really?
Is that because it needs to be darker?
Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing that you're gonna get out of that, it's not so much flavor, it's the color you're gonna get. What kind of ale is, or what kind of kit is it?
It's just
What's your ultimate goal here? What are you making?
Yeah, it's just a brown ale.
Brown ale.
Yeah.
And that's just all for color. You're not gonna get much flavor. Is it a liquid malt extract that you're making, or is it a dry? When you actually start the boil, is it a can of stuff?
Yeah, let me grab it. Hold on. It's a liquid malt extract called a Breeze Light Malt Extract, 6 pounds.
Yeah, Breeze malt. All right. And there's no there's no other malts going
There's
in
no
there?
there's no dry malt. No.
Okay, yeah, then that's just for color.
Okay.
I mean, it might give a little flavor, but yeah, I'd probably go closer to 30 if you want a nice dark beer. It'll look better online when you hold it up to the camera. So.
Okay, I'll go 30 minutes. Perfect. All right, awesome.
Yeah, what kind of hops does it come with?
Let me grab those. By the way, I'm recording you right now too, because we're making this official. I've got one is the 60 minute boil. I mean, at the start, I guess, is Target Brown. It's from BSG.
60 minutes is what?
He wrote on the package boil at 60, and he did, and it's called Target.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's and he said brown, and then the hops that I add with 15 minutes to go is Willamette, however you say it.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty standard English ale, man. That'll be delicious. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I would go 30 minutes on your steep, and yeah.
All right. See, this is like
Yeah, let me know.
yeah. This is like that TV.
You're going down the rabbit.
Yeah, exactly. This is like that TV show where this was my phone a friend opportunity.
All right. Well, get me back if you need anything else. I'll be around.
Okay, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, see ya.
See ya. Awesome. It's always good to have additional eyes and ears and experts who've done this before ready at a moment's notice. So we're going to steep for 30 minutes. Okay, we've been on the stove for 30 minutes. So now we're going to take our digital thermometer here. And we're a little bit high. We're at 158, 159 and rising. So I'm just going to lower the gas and get it back down to the 155. Hopefully that does it. Just learning here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and steep the grains because I found out you can go anywhere between 155 and 170. We're at 160 right now. The flame is off right now, so I'm gonna have to really watch this as I go along. But what I've decided to do is I'm just gonna tie the grains onto the spoon, hang it from the spoon anyway. Can you hold this? Don't drop it. I'm just going to tie this on to the spoon. Hang there. So now we got our steeping of the grains. We're going to start our timer over here. Very important to start that. And we're going to go for 30 minutes, believe it or not. And I think the extra 10 minutes above the normal time is for color because we're doing a brown ale. The question is, do I squeeze the bag at the end? Probably not, but some people have. Oh. All right, now what we're gonna do is got just some hot tap water. We're gonna put it in the bucket. And then we're going to come over here and grab our malt extract. Sorry, the camera work here. The gimbal's a little bit off today. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop the malt extract into the hot water or warm water. Apparently it'll be easier to pour. And also if you have children screaming while you do beer brewing, it comes out better. Yeah, it comes out better. All right, our 30-minute timer is up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the mesh bag out. We're gonna let it drain all of that goodness into the pot here. Again, is there anyone out there in YouTube land that squeezes the bag? Takes a while for that to happen, but you get the idea. Okay, now we're going to take the Breeze Light Malt Extract, 6 pounds. We're going to dump that in. We've obviously heated this up. I've taken the heat off of the stove so we don't have a burn at the bottom. And I'm also going to start a little bit of a stir at the same time. Let that all get in there. All right. So a few minutes after our steeping run, we're getting some interesting visuals here from the mix. Is that normal? Okay, I thought I'd show a video of just before it starts the rolling boil. That's what it's looking like. I think that's looking okay. So again, we're probably about 200 degrees, close to a boil. We now have a rolling boil, so we're going to add our target hops at the start of the 60 minutes. This is the first time I've ever done this. So we're gonna. Okay, come over here a little bit. Get inside the pot here. Okay, there's the foam coming in. Ooh. Okay, and now we're going to start the 60-minute timer over here on the iPad. Okay, 1 hour timer started. I don't think we need to stir that all that much, do we? All right, so far so good. All right, we're gonna add our second hop addition. This is a Willamette hops. We're supposed to add this when there's 15 minutes left on the boil. As you can see, we're coming up to the 15-minute mark. So we'll open that up. Oh yeah. We're gonna add that right at the 15-minute mark.
Amazon, stop. Amazon, stop.
It really starts to foam up. Computer, stop. All right, that's the second addition of hops. Now we're gonna boil for another 15 minutes. A very important step is to sanitize the bucket that your wort is going to go into. So we're gonna use our Star San here, 1 ounce. I'm gonna fill it up with 5 gallons of warm water. Make sure it's all sanitized. I'm going to sanitize the lid as well, and also sanitize the airlock. So there we go. All right, we're done with the 60-minute boil. So I'm just prepping the ice bath here that we're gonna cool the in there. I'm just gonna put some salt in here. I have no idea how much salt to put in here. That looks like the right amount. Now we're gonna take this and move this over to the ice bath.
Here you go. Adult fee, all of the adult fees are $16.
Okay, we're gonna let that chill down to a temperature of 70 degrees.
That's my snake. I want that.
And then we can pour it into the fermentation bucket. Okay, we have poured the chilled wort into the fermenter. This is the primary fermenter. And we poured it in, let it splashing. That introduces oxygen, which is necessary for the fermentation process as far as I understand. We're now gonna add additional water to bring it up to the 5-gallon line. I started with 3 gallons on the boil, so I'm assuming I've boiled off a bit, so adding 2 additional gallons may not be enough. Looks like it's pretty close, actually. Yeah, it looks like it's 4.5. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another ½ gallon, and then we'll put the yeast on in just a moment. And now we'll come in here and we'll take, this is our Cephal US 05 dry L yeast, and we're gonna cut that open and then sprinkle it on top. So let's see if we can do that. Again, taking our sanitized scissors. Let me just reread the instructions. Okay, and we're gonna cut open the yeast. And then we're gonna sprinkle it. On top. Okay, yeast has been added. This part I'm not too familiar with what happens next, but I think we're gonna take our sanitized lid, put that right on top. That is sealed nice and tight. And then my understanding is this one I'm not so sure about, but I believe we just put some sanitized water in the outer edge and then stick that in the top. So I guess some people even use vodka but hopefully that creates our airlock, but then we're gonna slowly see it bubbling if all's going well with the fermentation. So this is my first time doing this. I hope I did everything okay. We're gonna put this into a cold, dark room. Well, not cold, but like, you know, room temperature, 70 degrees in the dark. Keep the UV light away from it. And we're gonna let it sit there for a week to 2 weeks. I don't know, it should be a week or two. I guess we can check it to see how it's doing along the way, but hope you enjoyed this beginner's process. We'll obviously have another video showing the bottling process, etc. So thanks for joining me today. See ya.